Hello, welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, in my secret laboratory deep in the woods of Standish, Maine. I've been busy. The Model A is finally up out of its hole. It's on the left. I am rediscovering the lost area where it was. This was a tremendous amount of work. There was no midweek video, there was nothing. I delivered the Willys pickup Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday, one or the other, and have been working in here ever since. During that time, I received my first look at the Sonnax drum module for the Turbo 400, and that's what this video is all about. So, it's not for me, but by the time I'm done talking about it and handling it, I already want one, and for lots of good reasons. So let's go over the difference. The Turbo 400 is regarded as the strongest GM transmission they ever made. It's universal. We've yet to find the limit of it. I mean, pick the fastest car on the planet. There was just a pro mod. Last Tuesday went 535, I think, 270, 234, I don't know, quarter mile. That has a Turbo 400. Owned by Mark Mickey, M&M Transmission, so it definitely has a Turbo 400 in it. And again, the transmission's not holding them back. So it's amazing what a Turbo 400 can do, but they've always been said, and it's true, the internals are heavier than a Power Glide, for instance. So in theory, there's a horsepower loss. So there's that. Let's put that off to the side. Extra weight inside. It's amazing what these stock items will do. This is a forward drum, Turbo 400. This is a direct drum, Turbo 400. They're just cast pieces. Never meant to spin more than what? 5,000 RPM? 5,500 maybe? In this form, I have tons of transmissions out there. Again, 800 to 1,000 horsepower range. These will live. You typically swap this out for the 4L80E piece only because it has an improved intermediate sprag on the back of the direct drum. So, again, never meant to spin a lot of RPM. We've talked about it many times, but here's the dangers. So in low gear, first gear, you accelerate. This is turning engine RPM. This is the input shaft hooked to the torque converter, essentially hooked to the engine, hooked through the torque converter to the engine. So this is spinning engine RPM, give or take. This, the direct drum, is counter-rotating. So this is spinning this way, and all this mass is spinning the opposite way at about, what? 2.48 times, right? That's the low gear ratio. When you shift to second gear, the intermediate clutches stop this hole. So if you're spinning 7,000 RPM and you hit second gear, this giant hunk of cast steel stops. It's amazing. All that energy goes into the case, which of course that puts a strain on the case lugs. That's why you run a case saver. All things we talked about many, many times. So this is how it plays out in reality. And then in third gear, because this is still spinning RPM, max RPM, where you got your foot to the floor, in this case, you shift to third gear, and now this has to accelerate the entire contents of it. It matches up with this one, the input shaft, the forward drum, and the direct drum are now spinning the same RPM. And then the dangers should, for some reason, this disconnect from the engine, or you shut the engine off, or something else breaks, the gear train, the lower unit, has the ability to take drive shaft RPM. If you're spinning 7,000 RPMs in the traps and you neutral it and shut the engine off, or any of the above, 2.48 is your low gear ratio. You're now spinning that 2.48 times faster than the drive shaft. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's mechanical. Everything there forward is the engine shut off, something broke, whatever. That's a bomb. And that's the danger. That's why you run a safety shield on your stock case, or you have an SFI rated ballistic case to contain the direct drum. That's the danger in the entire transmission. So for many years, and it's still a great option, step one, replace the cast direct drum with an aluminum drum. It's a lot lighter, so everything that has to happen we just talked about is easier on everything because it's aluminum. And it's less likely to explode, and if it did, you got to believe aluminum is going to do less damage than steel. The next excellent option, and again, up until Sonix came out with a Turbo 400 direct drum module, there wasn't a whole lot of options, so you might as well put an aluminum forward drum in it as well. So those two pieces together, plus the billet forward hub you need and everything else related, you are more than 2/3 cost-wise to the new Sonix Turbo 400 drum module. And no, I don't work for Sonix. I'm seeing my first one, and they've been out over a year. I'm excited about it. There was another attempt 20-something years ago using some OEM parts to kind of accomplish the same thing. But now let me dig out the Sonix stuff and see how they have combated what we just talked about. So give me a minute. Before I drag out all the small pieces, I think I was going to drag out all the small pieces when I realized that wasn't necessary. The genius is right here, and let me show you why. Here's a picture of it all assembled. Basically, you have 2 aluminum pistons, 2 sets of clutches, a 36 element Pro Mod sprag on the back that they engineered, Sonnax did, to take the stock size Turbo 400 intermediate clutches or 4L80E clutches. I like to run the 4-clutch 4L80E intermediate, and they were nice enough to make a 36 element sprag, not a 34, 36, and make it fit your stock clutches, so you don't need to buy anything extra there. So you have 2 pistons, 2 lightweight hubs, 2 sets of clutches. They give you 6 on the input, 7 on the direct. Plenty of clutch capacity. The input shaft is now separate. You buy that separate. This module is about $2,800 and change, $2,900. Plus you have to buy an input shaft. I think they currently have 3 input shafts available. 2 in the stock size of 1-inch diameter. 1 with a journal for the front stator bushing. I've done videos on that. We've talked about it many times. And the other one omits that, so you get freer flowing oil coming out of the converter return. That'd be the one I would choose, and I'm sure my friend that bought this did. It's already here. And they also offer an 1.125" diameter input shaft and a matching stator tube that you'd have to put in your stock pump, but they left it splined stock where it goes into the torque converter, so that's not a weak link out there, and it saves you having to have a custom torque converter if you want to run a big shaft. You know, big shaft options were really pricey up until this. I mean, you're already spending a lot of money, but at least they made upgrading beyond what you need amazing. So when do you need this? Well, they say, Sonnax does, you know, anywhere from 500 horsepower, which is a stock Turbo 400, to 3,500 horsepower plus. They've got it in Pro Mods, pulling trucks, they've tried it in everything. It is a sturdy unit. Back to the genius of it. What they did is it still has some counter-rotating parts in second gear. However, it's hooked together now, so the entire piece is turning the correct direction. So it takes off in low gear, everything's turning together. In second gear, when the intermediate clutches grab the sprag, they made this so it only counter-rotates a small sprag hub, I think they call it, and it only counter-rotates the clutches. It doesn't even counter-rotate the steels. They stay going the correct direction, so when you go into third, it's very easy for everything to spin the same direction. they claim, and the people have tested it, and they claim that putting one of these in your car is worth a couple tenths of a second in a quarter mile, which, because of the horsepower, is not lost throwing all that heavy cast stuff around, or even aluminum. They claim even over the aluminum drums you save 3.5 pounds. That's pretty impressive. And as far as exploding, there's still counter-rotating pieces, but now it's in close to the center of rotation. They shrunk everything that spins counter-rotating is small now, inside the shell, inside the case. Now, if you put this in a stock case, this is excellent for a stock case, you still have to run an external shield because, in theory, there's still a small danger of it, but it's certainly a much better situation. But still, if you're running a stock case, you're still going to need a shield on the outside to protect yourself. Now, that's not the bell housing. Some people think if they put a bell housing, everybody calls them Ultra Bells. Ultra Bell is a brand, kind of like Mack Truck is a brand. Everybody thinks, you know, I got hit by a Mack truck. What about the Kenworths and Peterbilts? Don't get me going. Anyway, so the bell housing only covers your flex plate. You need a shield over the body of the transmission to cover the rotating parts. And you're still going to need that unless you have an SFI case, an ATI, or a Reed are the only two I'd really seriously consider these days. For various reasons. That should be a whole nother video, but I've touched them all, almost. And yeah, this is definitely a game changer, and you have to thank any aftermarket company that invests this much. And I hope that they get their return back tenfold. Hold the phone. The packages over there, that big brown box, every individual package says patent pending, because they know that process takes time. They want to get it to market. What are the chances another company's going to come along and steal their idea? Yep. This particular company, I hesitate always to say anything bad about a company, and I continue to give these people the benefit of the doubt. But I can tell you, every product, if you choose to buy their product, it's typically a cost-driven purchase. There is disappointment hidden in the box. You'll find it, or it will find you, but you will realize, you know, a fool and his money are soon parted sometimes. And again, they seem to have great manufacturing capabilities. Every piece I've touched of theirs is missing something, and there's no one you can call to talk about it. I just got this the other day, and now I have a phone number as to how to make an inquiry. I'm going to try this because I have questions about some of the products I've tried, because I've given them an honest try. This is before, during, and after I hear what they do to other companies. For instance, they will order one of these and copy it. The problem is they didn't engineer it. They're going to miss something, guaranteed. And right off the bat, this is a transmission part catalog. There's the drum module. They call it the front and back drum kit, one piece. Now, right off the bat, remember I told you need an input shaft? They don't know that. It's not listed anywhere in their parts, the input shaft. So, at least with this, if you were to find they do carry one, you have to do all the work. It's not going to tell you, it's not going to lead you, nobody can help you on the phone. So, I found this shocking. Funny, the day I'm going to do a video about a product I'm really happy about, I see that they've already been pirated. And this happens, back to this for a minute. What the heck is that? It says it's a Turbo 400. I've seen their Reed copy cases over here, but what the heck is that thing? You got to get yourself one of these catalogs. And again, free market. I mean, if there's a lot of companies making stock input drums and direct drums for a Turbo 400, and they all copied something. They all copied General Motors. I mean, I get it, but it's, you know, that's not my fish to fry. I think this company could be really good if they'd stop stealing everybody's ideas and listen to the people, get some feedback, and find the missing link in all their parts. They're so close, but I'm talking to the nobody. So again, if you choose to use them, and hey, I'm just like you, I like saving a buck. I'll tell you a story. Black Friday, I'm shopping for an LS7 intake manifold without the O-ring grooves on it. All your LS, or most of your LS manifolds, the O-ring groove to seal it is on the manifold side. Those dot heads that I got for the Ilmor program, the O-ring is in the head. Now I need an intake manifold that's flat. I also want one of those big giant ones like was originally on there, 5 or 6 inches tall. They all start minimum $1,000, I've been shopping, and all the way to $3,000 for just a hunk of aluminum. Speedmaster has listed, now again, the pitch is wrong. It was definitely a leap of faith. A week ago, I bought their LS7 intake on a whim because looking at the pitches, there was no O-ring groove. They probably didn't even know you needed one most of the time. But I figured I would get it, and the bolt pattern wouldn't be. LS7 is unique. LS3 is different. Long story short, it showed up today, and it's usable. It's a big, ugly hunk of cast iron that I paid $180 for. It's a giant. I'll show it to you when I get working on it. I have to finish boring the holes for the injectors, but they're started space-wise, and there's actually 2 sets of them. And it's 4,500 Dominator flange, but that's okay. I got a Dominator elbow. I think I can make it work. It seems to fit on the heads nice. The bolt holes line up, and the O-ring grooves, the only set I have now is in the heads, my dot heads. So, you know, for $183, I will do some work on the mill and everything, my handheld grinder, whatever I got to do, and I could probably make that work, but you have to be committed to finish the job because it's not going to come out of the box and work. Guaranteed. And this is, I've only looked at it for 5 minutes. I haven't found the hidden disappointment yet. And I might. And someday I may realize I have a $183 wall hanger. But that's me being frugal. And I figured, regardless of what I get, I had visions of welding up my Holly manifold. I mean, who knows? But somehow I'm talking about LS7 stuff, and we're supposed to be talking about 400. So I'm excited to put this together. Do yourself a favor. I'll do a video on it when I do it, but Sonix themselves have one video explaining pretty much everything I just said. I watched it a year ago, and they have like a 25-minute video actual assembling it piece by piece, and that's from the people that made it. So, they probably know what they're doing. So I'm glad it exists. I hope it is the answer that, that only it already has elevated the Turbo 400 to different levels. I'd like to hear back from anybody running one to see if you really did pick up a couple tenths and it's reliable. So I see no reason why it wouldn't be. They've gone out of their way to make sure things seal properly, and it's certainly rebuildable. Every part's available. Very interesting. So have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Next time you see me, I'm going to try to be shaved and get a haircut. I've been meaning to do that, but all I've been doing is working out here in my cave. So take her easy.